All right, let's talk about the next massive leap in AI. We're moving way beyond simple chatbots and into the world of AI agents. Now, these are programs that don't just talk to you, they actually do things. This is where AI gets a to-do list and the power to start checking things off, and it's going to completely change how we think about work.
So let me guess, when you think of AI, you're probably picturing a chatbot that can write a poem or give you a recipe, right? Well, get ready for a serious upgrade. The jump from a chatbot to an AI agent is kind of like the jump from a basic calculator to a fully dynamic spreadsheet. It's a whole new ballgame. And this slide right here, this nails the difference perfectly. On one side, you have the chatbot. It's totally reactive. It just sits there and waits for you to tell it what to do. But the agent on the other side, it's proactive. It doesn't just answer your question. It can go into your calendar, find a time, book a meeting, and send out the invites all by itself. It's a doer, not just a talker.
Okay, so we've established that an agent is a doer, but what does that really mean? Let's pop the hood and break down the DNA of an AI agent to see what truly sets it apart from all the AI you've probably used before.
Let's look at the official definition for a second, because a few words in here are absolute game changers. The big ones: autonomous and without constant human supervision. This is not about giving AI a list of step-by-step instructions. It's about giving it a goal, a big one, like, hey, plan my entire trip to Tokyo, and then trusting it to figure out all the little details on its own.
You know, the real magic here isn't just one of these things. It's how they all work together. An agent isn't just a mindless drone following orders. It is a problem solver that's focused on a goal, and it learns as it goes. If its first attempt to book a flight hits a dead end, it adapts, it tries another website, and it remembers what worked for next time. That ability to learn continuously, that's its superpower.
So we know what they are, but the really cool part is, how do they actually think? Let's go under the hood for a minute and see the cognitive engine that's driving an agent's every single move.
This is basically the agent's heartbeat. It's this constant four-step loop. First, it perceives. It says, okay, the user wants me to find the best local pizza. Then it reasons. It thinks, all right, I'll need to search Google Maps, check out some reviews, maybe look at a few menus. Then it acts. I'm now connecting to those apps and APIs to get the data. And finally, it learns. That place had amazing reviews, but it was closed. I'll remember that for next time. This cycle is what makes it truly intelligent, not just automated. So to make that action loop actually work, an agent needs a few key components. Think of it like a toolkit. At the center of it all is the brain. That's usually a big, powerful foundation model, like an LLM. Then it needs a planning module, which is basically its to-do list for breaking down big goals. It needs a memory module, its notebook, to remember what it's learned. And this is so crucial. It needs a toolbox full of APIs so it can actually interact with the outside world, to search, to email, to book, to do things. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that AI agent isn't just one size fits all. It's actually a whole spectrum, from really simple little bots that just follow rules to incredibly complex teams of agents all working together. Let's take a look at how these capabilities stack up. You can almost think of it like levels of intelligence. At the very bottom, you've got your simple reflex agents. Think of a thermostat. If it gets too hot, then turn on the AC. Simple. A step up, you have goal-based agents that can actually plan the most efficient route to get somewhere. Then you've got learning agents, like a stock trading bot that adapts to a chaotic market. And at the very top, you have multi-agent systems. Just imagine a whole team of specialized agents coordinating a massive shipping operation, all working together toward one big goal. Okay, so this isn't just some sci-fi concept. These things are already out there, in the wild, doing real work behind the scenes in ways that might actually surprise you. So let's look at where they're making a genuine impact today. And get this, it's not some far-off future. A recent study found that 51% of workers, that's more than half of us, are already using AI at work at least once a week. Now sure, a lot of these are probably simpler tools, but the groundwork is being laid. The agent revolution isn't coming, it's already quietly booting up in offices all over the world. Take the world of finance, for example. An agent can watch millions of transactions happening every second. The moment it spots a pattern that looks like fraud, it doesn't just send up a flare for a human to look at, it acts. It can instantly freeze the account, open an investigation ticket in the system, and pull all the relevant data together, all before a person even sees an alert. Now that is proactive security. Or think about healthcare, an industry that is just drowning in paperwork and admin tasks. An agent can be the ultimate coordinator. It can schedule appointments, make sure patient records are updated across a dozen different systems, and even verify insurance info, all while staying compliant. It tackles the administrative chaos so that doctors and nurses can actually focus on patients.
And we've all been there, right? Stuck with a customer service bot that can't do anything other than point you to an FAQ page. Well, an agent takes this to a whole new level. Instead of just answering basic questions, it can securely log into your account, check your order status with the shipping company, and actually process a return for you, only handing you off to a human for the really tricky stuff.
So, what's the bottom line here for a business? What does all this actually add up to? Well, it's a pretty powerful mix. A massive boost in productivity because you can delegate all the repetitive junk, lower costs because you're cutting down on errors, way smarter decisions because agents can analyze data in real time, and a much, much better customer experience. That's the edge these agents can deliver.
Of course, whenever we talk about this level of automation, the big question always comes up. So, where do humans fit into all this? This isn't just about getting new tools. It's about figuring out a whole new kind of partnership between people and intelligent agents. But look, this future isn't going to just magically appear. It's not a simple plug and play. There are some really big challenges we have to tackle head on. When you have agents with access to so much information, how do you absolutely guarantee data privacy and security? And from a practical side, how do businesses even manage the incredible technical complexity and the sheer amount of computing power it takes to run these things? These are huge hurdles we have to clear.
This chart right here, it perfectly captures the tension we're all feeling right now. On the one hand, you see a ton of people adopting AI tools, but right alongside that, there's a lot of concern. People are worried that for all their power, these systems just don't have that human spark, things like intuition, empathy, and real judgment. And navigating that tension is going to be the key to making this work. So, what's the answer? Well, it really boils down to balance. Like this quote says, you need smart rules, you need clear boundaries for what agents can and can't do, and you always need a human in the loop. The goal isn't to replace human oversight, it's to supercharge it. We're still the architects and the supervisors of this new digital workforce. So what's the end game here? Where is all of this heading? It's something people are starting to call the autonomous enterprise. Imagine a business where agents don't just handle one little task, but orchestrate entire processes from end to end, from the supply chain all the way to customer service, creating a kind of speed and agility that's just never been possible before. And that brings us to one final really interesting question to chew on. As these agents get more and more capable, more and more autonomous, are we just building ourselves smarter assistants that we can hand tasks off to? Or are we actually building the first generation of true digital colleagues? That's the future we're all stepping into right now. Thanks for joining me.